Guys, listen, I'm getting validation on social media. Getting validation on social media from the likes of Dan Ives, Jim Cramer, who is not a good indicator, but when you have Dan Ives and Jim Cramer agreeing, basically saying everything I was saying in the morning show, we're talking about $926 billion company. Dan Ives is like, this is a $1.5 billion company. Automation is going to be fast-tracked in terms of federal regulations and stuff. Take a look at this. I'm looking at, let's pull back to the weekly chart. If you go to the daily, you're like, oh, it's so scary, you got a gap here, oh my god, right? Okay, well, you can look, first of all, even on the daily, we're so close to that 299, it's going to test it soon. And then right after that, this is the magnet right there at 314.67. So your target's 300 to 314, 300 to 315, let's call it. But if you don't want to be scared of the gap, pull up a weekly chart, okay? When you put up a weekly chart, just look at this and think about how important this catalyst is. This is an inflection catalyst. This means this is a catalyst when 5 years from now, you look back at the stock and you look at the chart, you can identify a point in time, right? How important is it that Trump is elected and Elon Musk is at his side and basically put him in office, right? How important is that to the company? Obviously, it's hugely important. How big should that candle be? How big should that inflection be when you look back in this chart in time from the future, right? And when you look at the weekly chart, hey, we haven't even gotten started. This 15% move is nothing. It's a blip. You haven't even missed it yet. So when can we see this like really peak out? Or I don't want to say peak out, but when is this thing going to capitulate to the upside, at least temporarily? Guess when that's going to be? I think it's pretty clear. January 20th. There's going to be a lot of hype building into that. Most of the run's probably going to happen well before that. November, December. Maybe you see this thing have that capitulation high, towards Inauguration Day, right after Inauguration. Everything's going to be baked in by then. So again, look at these weekly candles. How big should these weekly candles be to represent this monumental thing that's really going to impact fundamentals for Tesla? I mean, look, this 299 to 315, that's like very short term. That could be tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow or Friday or Monday, might very well be tomorrow, 300 to 315. If you want to talk about a game-changing inflection for the company, you got to think this thing has got to be maybe somewhere between 380 and the all-time high by Inauguration Day, all right? Or at least 360 to 415 by Inauguration Day. That's my target. This is the opportunity. That's the analysis. Guys, listen, I'm getting validation on social media. Getting validation on social media from the likes of Dan Ives, Jim Cramer, who is not a good indicator, but when you have Dan Ives and Jim Cramer agreeing, basically saying everything I was saying in the morning show, we're talking about $926 billion company. Dan Ives is like, this is a $1.5 billion company. Automation is going to be fast-tracked in terms of federal regulations and stuff. Take a look at this. I'm looking at, let's pull back to the weekly chart. If you go to the daily, you're like, oh, it's so scary, you got a gap here, oh my god, right? Okay, well, you can look, first of all, even on the daily, we're so close to that 299, it's going to test it soon. And then right after that, this is the magnet right there at 314.67. So your target's 300 to 314, 300 to 315, let's call it. But if you don't want to be scared of the gap, pull up a weekly chart, okay? When you put up a weekly chart, just look at this and think about how important this catalyst is. This is an inflection catalyst. This means this is a catalyst when 5 years from now, you look back at the stock and you look at the chart, you can identify a point in time, right? How important is it that Trump is elected and Elon Musk is at his side and basically put him in office, right? How important is that to the company? Obviously, it's hugely important. How big should that candle be? How big should that inflection be when you look back in this chart in time from the future, right? And when you look at the weekly chart, hey, we haven't even gotten started. This 15% move is nothing. It's a blip. You haven't even missed it yet. So when can we see this like really peak out, or I don't want to say peak out, but when is this thing going to capitulate to the upside, at least temporarily? Guess when that's going to be? I think it's pretty clear. January 20th. There's going to be a lot of hype building into that. Most of the run's probably going to happen well before that. November, December. Maybe you see this thing have that capitulation high, towards Inauguration Day, right after Inauguration. Everything's going to be baked in by then. So again, look at these weekly candles. How big should these weekly candles be to represent this monumental thing that's really going to impact fundamentals for Tesla? I mean, look, this 299 to 315, that's like very short term. That could be tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow or Friday or Monday, might very well be tomorrow, 300 to 315. If you want to talk about a game-changing inflection for the company, you got to think this thing has got to be maybe somewhere between 380 and the all-time high by Inauguration Day. All right, or at least 360 to 415 by Inauguration Day. That's my target. This is the opportunity. That's the analysis. Guys, listen, I'm getting validation on social media. From the likes of Dan Ives, Jim Cramer, who is not a good indicator, but when you have Dan Ives and Jim Cramer agreeing, basically saying everything I was saying in the morning show, we're talking about $926 billion company. Dan Ives is like, this is a $1.5 billion company. Automation is going to be fast-tracked in terms of federal regulations and stuff. Take a look at this. I'm looking at, let's pull back to the weekly chart. If you go to the daily, you're like, oh, it's so scary, you got a gap here, oh my god, right? Okay, well, you can look, first of all, even on the daily, we're so close to that 299, it's going to test it soon. And then right after that, this is the magnet right there at 314.67. So your target's 300 to 314, 300 to 315, let's call it. But if you don't want to be scared of the gap, pull up a weekly chart, okay? When you put up a weekly chart, just look at this and think about how important this catalyst is. This is an inflection catalyst. This means this is a catalyst when 5 years from now, you look back at the stock and you look at the chart, you can identify a point in time, right? How important is it that Trump is elected and Elon Musk is at his side and basically put him in office, right? How important is that to the company? Obviously, it's hugely important. How big should that candle be? How big should that inflection be when you look back in this chart in time from the future, right? And when you look at the weekly chart, hey, we haven't even gotten started. This 15% move is nothing. It's a blip. You haven't even missed it yet. So when can we see this like really peak out, or I don't want to say peak out, but when is this thing going to capitulate to the upside, at least temporarily? Guess when that's going to be? I think it's pretty clear. January 20th. There's going to be a lot of hype building into that. Most of the run's probably going to happen well before that. November, December. Maybe you see this thing have that capitulation high, towards Inauguration Day, right after Inauguration. Everything's going to be baked in by then. So again, look at these weekly candles. How big should these weekly candles be to represent this monumental thing that's really going to impact fundamentals for Tesla? I mean, look, this 299 to 315, that's like very short term. That could be tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow or Friday or Monday, might very well be tomorrow, 300 to 315. If you want to talk about a game-changing inflection for the company, you got to think this thing has got to be maybe somewhere between 380 and the all-time high by Inauguration Day. All right, or at least 360 to 415 by Inauguration Day. That's my target. This is the opportunity. That's the analysis.
Amazon, okay, Elon, I mean, Jeff Bezos has been selling everything he could at $200. We got some call options overnight, $200 strike for this week. And my thinking was on a Trump victory, we can break 200 because, and I don't know if I mentioned this on the show yesterday or on our Discord. I think it was on the show. Jeff Bezos did something it took some guts. He went against everybody in his organization to prevent the Washington Post from endorsing Kamala Harris. Okay, that happened last week. And there was like a mutiny at the Washington Post. And people were really pissed at him. So he took a stand. And I'm sure Donald Trump took note of that. The question is that the market take note of that enough to say Amazon's a Trump stock, just like Tesla will benefit because of his support for Trump. Will Amazon benefit because of what Jeff Bezos did for Trump in the past week? That was the thesis for why we got some Amazon calls yesterday. And it's really underperforming today, up 0.45%. If we look at the QQQ and SPY, up 2%. Look, I got to throw Amazon in the top 5. I got to say, now we have all the ingredients finally. We don't know. It's a black hole. We don't know for sure how many shares is Jeff Bezos selling at 200. So it's definitely risky to do this. But if there's ever going to be a day where there's enough buy volume to overcome a big seller, I would say maybe today's that day. So let's throw Amazon in the top 5 for a break of 200. But it's not just about the supply. It's also about the demand. So even if you want to imagine whatever the max quantity is that you think Jeff Bezos is selling out there, if there's any day where the demand can overtake the supply, today's a good day to do that. All right, that's basically what I'm saying. And has already sold many shares. It's not like he just started. He's been selling for a long time. So I would guess it's closer to the end than the beginning. But again, it's a black hole what the supply is, but also today the demand is going to be crazy. Let's take out that $200 Jeff Bezos wall today. HIMS. Okay, HIMS, I'm very bullish on for earnings. I want a long-term tranche of this. I've been in call options for a few days. If you're with us right here on this day, October 30th, I started buying call options, bought more on Friday. It was one of our bigger winners on Thursday. It was our bigger winners on Friday. Big open green candle Friday. This sell-off, I've been explaining for a while, unwarranted. Too much focus from the bears on GLP-1. Even without GLP-1, this stock has been beating and raising every single quarter, even without the impact of compounding GLP-1. So we'll see. The trend is your friend, right? So I'm always going to bet on the trend until it breaks. And that trend is beat and raise every quarter, beat and raise every quarter. So that's a good bet to take that they're going to beat and raise again. So I'm looking potentially for this stock to be trading in the $23 to $25 range tonight and tomorrow if they do have that earnings beat. So HIMS is going to be a top 5 stock today. We'll throw that up at the top. All right. Okay, so you have an additional tailwind in RCAT as a defense stock, plus this event after the close. Yesterday, on that anticipation, we hit 562. I think this is a really good bet. I bought some in pre-market, some trading shares on top of my core shares, because I'm anticipating a move even beyond this 510 ask here right now. All right.
Hitchcock can take it away.
I'll just leave this up for a few seconds.
I took it all the way to 550.
A few quick notes on the web while
I'm buying as much as I can.
Slide up. So
all the way to 550.
again, we designed this in less than 5 months, and we delivered.
Look at this technical breakout. Do you see how beautiful this is, right? It's a little bit hard to see.
No, I see it. It's gorgeous right there. Look at that.
Okay, that's your target. 775. Okay, we're at 555, 559 now. I would not be surprised. One of these days, could be today, to see UMAC up like 80%. Like something like PDYN at 130%. Wouldn't be surprised. So took a bet on UMAC this morning. I got to tell you, there's a possibility UMAC does something crazy like this over the next couple days. All right. I think there's a high chance, very high chance we'll see 960 again today. Good chance we'll see over 10, and definitely a possibility this thing does $10, $15, $20 over the next few days. So UMAC, all right, got to make that, even now at these prices, up 45%, got to make it the number one pick of the day. I have to tell you, as I'm thinking about it, as I'm talking about this out loud with you guys, I think I got to buy some long-term shares here. I think I do. I only have exposure now in my trade account. I'm going to do it right now on the air. All right. UMAC, even though, okay, I'm going to buy it high, get it, but that's okay. All right. We're going to buy some more shares here, but this time it's going into my long-term account. I was in Mara this morning. I sold Mara to buy more UMAC, and that's looking to be the right decision. I don't think you're going to find anything better than UMAC today, even at this price right here, Brett. Is that crazy?
Yeah, I know. Look at it. They could have bought into, and they'd already be making money this morning. So.
Oh my God. I'm still underweight. I mean, because it's such a no-brainer. It's such a no-brainer. 45 million. I'm like, $45 million market cap. Well, before the 65% move. And Donald Trump Jr., I'm like, I should be all in. Honestly, let me see if I should buy more somewhere. Well, good morning, guys. It's Thursday, December 5th, and what a day it's going to be. Wow, look at this Bitcoin. Unbelievable. I cannot wait to get into this with you because, man, did we predict this so well. Unbelievable. The first attempt at 100, we're like, nah, going to get rejected because it's psychological resistance, and we gave you a 90,000 pullback level, came to like 90,800. We're live on the air on our afternoon show looking at that and with Rhett, who can't be here today, but we're looking at MSTR. We're like, I think this is the bottom right here. We're going to turn MSTR right at the bottom over there. That was the right call. But yesterday gave a huge alert around 3 p.m. Bitcoin started pumping, and we broke above this candle here, which was basically getting back into the 98,000 level. That was an important level yesterday. And I went, I don't want to say all in, but I pounded the table on Mara calls. And I'm like, this 100K. And you know what's very interesting? It was quiet everywhere. No one was talking about it. And I put out a post, which I think was accurate. I'm like, are you guys all traumatized from the first time it didn't break 100? I'm thinking, did everyone like go all in with options thinking it's going to break 100K on the first try? And now you lost all your money and now you're traumatized. You don't believe it's going to happen again. I was like, the chart is set up so much nicer now to break 100K than it was the first time. And in the Discord, like literally 30 minutes before this thing broke out, I think it was like 98,500. Someone made a comment in our room like, come on, what's taking Bitcoin so long? I'm like, it's going to happen. It's imminent. It's a foregone conclusion. We're breaking 100K imminently. And what do you know? Like 5 minutes later, there was like a God candle. It was just crazy. But I got a knack for Bitcoin sometimes. I really do. In any case, and here's the important part. If you were watching your show over the last few weeks, the first time we hit 100K, I was telling everyone 100K is massive psychological resistance. And it's so massive that if and when you break 100K to the upside, then what's it become? Massive psychological support. And I was like, it's not going to be too, I said it back then. And this is what a big part of the show is about today. It is not too late to get into Bitcoin and crypto names. In fact, I think it's only the beginning. All right. You guys who are a little bit older, you've had decades turning 30, 40, 50. If you remember this, if you're 29, you felt kind of old, right? And then your birthday hits, you're 30, and you feel young again. New decade, you're at the 0. You're not at the 9. Same thing. 39, you're feeling kind of old. 40, you feel young again. And the thing, it repeats. I'm like 48. When I turn 50, I'm going to feel so young, man. All right, because it's starting to get a 0. And that's exactly the psychology behind 100K. 100K was so forbearing, such a big number. Oh my gosh, can we ever break 100K? You break 100K, guess what? 100K looks cheap now. And everybody in the world is going to open their wallets and support 100K from now to forever. I think that's a forever support. If it does break 100K, it'll be very transient, and buyers will be there to pick it back up. This is the beginning of a new stage. And the other thing I was talking about yesterday afternoon, I believe, even before the market closed, I think it was. If it wasn't, it was in the evening. I'm like, not only are we going to break 100K, but when we do, we can see 105 to 110K very quickly. We hit 104K. But the more important point is that it's not priced in to the miners, okay? And I saw this by observing the price action. And last night validated this, because when the thing was like 99K, 99.5K, it wasn't moving. All right. And then you broke 100K, and Mara jumped up like 3-4 percentage points, and it was vacillating. Then it went back below 100K. Mara held its gains, because everybody knows now the 100K is the new low, right? So there was this kind of demarcation point where the miners didn't want to go any higher until or unless you broke 100K, because now that puts a new trading range in Bitcoin from now to forever, right? So that was a very important point. Now you have a floor in Bitcoin, and you have a whole new era of a whole new price range, and that's going to cause Mara and these cryptos to go up. I'm focused on Mara. I'm not going to talk about Hood. Is obviously awesome, not a miner, but the benefit from it. MicroStrategy, everyone knows about that. But the reason I focus on Mara and Coin, the reason I focus on Mara is because this is endorsed by the Godfather, big fundamental guy in our room. So that's the one I'm focused in on. And looking at the chart here, last time we got close to 100K. I think this was the weekend before. This was a Friday, I believe. Yep. It was a Friday where people didn't want to have, they wanted to be exposed to Mara before a long weekend where Bitcoin could break 100K. That's when you see it break 30. Now we're sitting here at 27. So my prediction is Mara is going to go right back up to 30 now that we did break 100K. All right. So Mara is going to be a top pick of the day. By the way, DEFTF, which is a top pick on our show 2 days ago, or one day, or was it yesterday? Yeah, it was 2 days ago. This is a top pick on our show 2 days ago for a day trade, right? So we got that nice big open green candle, but also for a long-term investment. I put it in my long-term account as well. Look at this gap yesterday, up 18%, probably going to have another huge move today. All right. So DEFTF and Mara, two nice ways to play Bitcoin. Okay. Now let's move into we'll talk about RK and our top picks. ERs, I don't have time to get into these. I haven't even looked at them. There's too much going on. A lot of earnings reports tonight, or some this morning, maybe you're released already. Lulu, particularly interesting to me after the close. I'll keep my eyes open for that. In our Discord community, we always look at earnings for any opportunities to play quick re-ratings based on how I interpret the earnings report. Little magic secret sauce to that I'm not going to reveal here on the show. But in any case, all right, let's go to our top picks. And the first thing I really got to bring up is RK, because we've been bullish RK for a while. I probably called this breakout, man, the amount of breakouts we call, like, to the day, it's just sick. And, sometimes I think, I wish I wasn't here all day. I just wish out for like swing positions. And every time Ben mentions inflection point catalyst, just like buy leaps and just come back in 6 months. Like, I think you'd make $1 billion in a year. It's absolutely sick, the amount of lows we call. We called it on pounds here at 7. We call that Carvana at like 5. And I was like, Carvana's going to 100 when it inflected at 5. You have no idea how many calls I made like that with Hims and Hood. It's absolutely sick and disgusting that, like, I didn't buy leaps and just hold it all the way through. Unbelievable. All right. Anyway, RK, another one where we called this inflection here. And we're calling for a price target of the 200-week moving average at 62.69. Looks like you can very well hit that today, 62.69. It could go much higher, but I'm not willing to call that yet. Let's see what happens after 62.69. I think if you're doing like call options or something, that's a great place to sell and reassess later. All right, not going to get into my macro thesis in terms of what I think markets can do. I did that yesterday. It's right at 9:08 a.m. In terms of what markets can do the rest of December and January. Got very specific forecast for that. So let's see if that plays out. Anyway, so RK in play. Obviously, they got a big exposure to Hood and Coin, and also Roku yesterday with that analyst upgrade, I think from Needham, $100 price target, saying that they're going to get bought out for a premium. I think it was Needham. Don't hold me to it, though. But in any case, RK looking good for that move. And this is a risk asset measure, right? So this is one of the reasons I'm excited today. Not only broke 100K, it's a new floor. That also means maybe we get a new floor. We get a second surge up in risk assets because this RK is kind of a proxy for risk. So we can see that excitement and that money flowing, continuing to flow to the more riskier growth names and small cap names, which we love dabbling in our community. So in any case, that's RK. So that comes along with the push in Tesla. By the way, another kind of ancillary thesis I want to maybe push today is I've seen a lot of people attributing this Bitcoin surge to Trump, obviously, right? But even more acutely, I think some SEC guy he appointed yesterday or something like that led to another secondary surge or nominated secondary surge in Bitcoin. But the calendar is turned over to December, inaugurations in January. So I think all the elements are coming together for a secondary surge in Trump names. You probably seen my thesis on Tesla from the day after the election, calling for all-time new highs, proximal to inauguration. When I say proximal, 2 to 3 weeks before to 2 to 3 weeks after, in that time frame, calling for an all-time new high. All right, we have other Trump stocks. So my point is, if people are going to attribute that to Trump, that maybe that Trump risk on play comes back into play for stocks like Tesla today, for stocks like DJT, which has even a separate crypto-based thesis, for stocks like GEO. Look at that candle yesterday. All right. So these are going to be some of these maybe making it to our top 5 today. Let's go on down. Square is one of those risk assets that's following RK to the T. All right. We gave you a 110 target on this weeks ago. I still actually have a few call options on this. I think $100 strikes December 23rd, something like that. Unfortunately, not a huge position, like 15 calls. All right. Will be fun. All right. But this is looking great. Maybe we can break $100 today and make a move towards 110. That might make it into the top 5 picks. Again, this is related to Bitcoin actually breaking 100K. It's all related, right? I like my catalyst. I don't make something a top pick unless I have a direct catalyst. I don't do pure technicals, right? I want to know that the market psychology has a tailwind behind my stock today. If I'm just trading numbers, right, just based on technicals, I can get shaken out very easily. You can do stop losses. You got to have conviction because you have a thesis and a belief that other investors are going to hold up the stock today. And that's what I do when we pick stocks. I'm trying to get into the heads of other investors to give me that conviction so I don't get shaken out. And, because I don't want to go there, but I don't like pure technical trading. Not my thing at all. I need a thesis. I need to understand the market psychology in order to enter a trade and have conviction in it and not get easily shaken out. So that's how Square is making it up to the top of the list because of this relationship with risk assets and Trump and RK and all that. All right. So a bunch of these will probably make it into the top 5 today. Now going down here, a couple riskier names to consider. NNOX, this has been on my list because way back when NVIDIA invested in a few companies, man, now I forget the names of the other ones. There were like 3, it was like in the span of a day or two. They invested in like 3 companies and all the companies, like they exploded like crazy. NNOX was one of them, all right? But it was a small investment, so it's been on my radar. This morning, they get FDA approval to expand the use of some sort of X-ray technology they have to general use cases, all right? It looks pretty significant, at least the PR looks significant. It is something that can increase their revenue immediately, theoretically, right? They can start selling that service for more expanded use cases. So only a $367 million market cap with that sentiment of NVIDIA behind them with this catalyst today. This could be a small cap that outperforms today. 726 by 729. Now you got 784. I did enter a 10% trade position in this morning. We'll see what happens. All right. Community member brought up GWAV to us this morning. I don't know much about it. Insider buy, $16 million market cap. You can take a look at that. Wow, interesting chart. I got to tell you, this kind of looks like those stocks that can do like 100% or something. But in any case, got a small position, just following. Very good contributor in our community. on that. All right. So that being said, I do also want to mention, let's just quickly mention yesterday's top picks for killer, man. NBIS, number one pick of the day. All right, look at that big open green candle hitting our $34 price target in after hours, now $33.70. I don't think this move is over. $34 filled that gap. But if you go to the weekly chart, hello, you have like a sky blue breakout when you go to the weekly chart, like 38 to 45, 46 is in play on NBIS. I don't think I have a position now. We traded it as day trades for the last 2 days pretty successfully. That was our number one pick of the day. Did great yesterday. Number two pick of the day was Snow, which was unbelievable. Look at that. Oh, what a pick yesterday morning on Snow. Number two pick. I did do call options. Unfortunately, I didn't hold it the whole day. I should have. I made like 45% on a relatively small position in the morning. If I had held it the whole day, I would have probably made like 300% or something. Anyway, but I did add to my long-term common shares of Snow early in the morning with the thesis. Don't have time to go through that thesis. So 2 for 2 right there. Our third pick of the day was Talk. Nice big open green candle. Also added to my long-term. 3 for 3. And our fourth pick of the day yesterday was DJT. And that's an very interesting thesis. Boom, big open green candle. 4 for 4 on our top 4 picks yesterday. Can we do it again today? All right, before we kind of finalize what our top picks for the day are, I just got to jump on over to drone stocks, which have been taking a beating, okay? Really a big beating, big pullbacks. But I just want to say there's a catalyst out there that can maybe start putting a floor in these. Thanks you to, I think the Godfather put this out there in our Discord. Bloomberg article. I don't know if they had interviewed Vivek, like a paper interview or as a video interview, I'm not sure. But Vivek Ramaswamy talking about how the United States is underinvested in drones. And this is something Elon Musk has been talking about for a while. So that could be a nice catalyst. And by the way, AVAV, the larger drone company, not the small drone companies. These are all for small drones, this list. Aero, how do you say that company? AeroVironment? I don't know. AVAV. They do larger drones. They had earnings last night, and RCAT was mentioned. An analyst on the call mentioned and talked about, hey, how come, like, what happened? You didn't win that contract. What's up with that? Right? So anyway, interesting. More exposure for RCAT, RedCat. All of these may be poised for a rebound. I actually did enter a small trade position in PDYN this morning. Drone AI stock. No great significant catalyst. So not going to be a top 5 pick today. But I also added some to a swing account. We'll see here. Drones and AIs at the same time. AI at the same time. Wow, that could be explosive again. Could have a second explosion. Went from 2 to 8. Now pull back to 5. Let's see if we can go for round 2. All right. But don't have a particularly strong catalyst for that. So not going to be in the top 5 today. All right. Now let's head back on over here. Vince is ancient. He says, okay, I definitely called ARC. Thank you. And DXYZ has been amazing. Another one I called DXYZ, but I didn't act on it, man. When I called DXYZ, the first time they caught Starship and did the catch, and it was around here. It was like, actually, it was this candle. It must have been this candle. And I'm like, I think this is something you can hold for the long term is what I said. And I made a calculation that it's worth at least in the 20s. The thing's up to 48. And I traded it, but I did not put it in my long-term IRA. Shame on me. All right. Wow. They got shares in SpaceX, now valued at $350 billion. They got shares in OpenAI, guys. All right. Funny how I pronounce Ramaswamy. Someone has to teach it to me then. I don't know. All right, Amar. All right, let's see. Let's head on over to our top picks here and see what we got. I definitely got to put Mara in the top picks. RK is more of like an industry risk asset swing thing, not like a top 5, although we're going to hit the target for sure. Is it today? Is it tomorrow? I don't know, but we're hitting the 200-week moving average. All right, so we got Mara. Tesla. Oh, I love Tesla. Tesla 360 plus. Let's go, baby. You saw my thesis, and I have not backed down. I'm like, I don't care what the delivery numbers are. I don't care what Goldman Sachs says. All right, this thing's going all-time new highs because sentiment trumps fundamentals. Why? Because sentiment, people who think about sentiment are actually thinking about fundamentals years from now, all right? And the market's forward-looking. So those sentiment traders are often more correct than the fundamental traders because they actually, I have to say, people who consider sentiment strongly in a way are more investor oriented than fundamental investors who just look at a spreadsheet and they trade based on quarter to quarter results. To me, if you're an investor, you believe in a thesis, you're long term, you believe in management, you believe in the vision the company has, and you're buying into that sentiment for the long in a spreadsheet and saying, what's the PE? And all right, now I'm going to sell you this quarter. I'm going to buy you back next quarter. That's trading based on quantitative things. Nothing wrong with it. All right. But to me, the people focus on the sentiment of Tesla are correct. They're the ones that are going to get this right. They're the ones that are going to be here at 360 and watch this thing get all-time highs because Tesla will benefit over the next few years from the Trump relationship and the FSD and the robo-taxi. That's investing. Goldman Sachs is wrong. We're right. Tesla going all-time new highs. All right. So Tesla going to be in the top 5 here today. Mara in the top 5. DJT in the top 5. I don't have time to go through the thesis. All right. I'm going to put GEO in there. All right. And then we'll just throw in an NNOX for fun. All right. So, all right. So we got Mara, Tesla, DJT, GEO, not RK. We're going to throw NNOX. And now let's quickly go over maybe some levels. So Mara, I think we can challenge at $30 again. I told you the thesis why. Tesla, let's go ahead and break 362 this week. All right. 385, by the way, the next target on Tesla, 385. DJT, I love DJT. I think something's going to blow soon. So we broke that 200-day moving average. I don't know if I have a target for today, though. Where's this candle at? 3677 is a resistance area. You break 3677, you can keep going. I love Square, Vince. I do. I don't know if I have room for a top 5. Maybe we'll call it the 6th position. All right. So we got Mara, Tesla, DJT, GEO. I just love this candle yesterday. Beautiful candle. I may be adding to my call position. I got January $30 strikes. January $30 strikes in GEO. I think I'm going to add more. I have a lot to do this morning. I hope I get to it before it explodes like $3. I don't know. It might be today. All right. So Mara, Tesla, DJT, GEO, and we'll call, you know what? Fine, Vince. We're going to put NNOX in a separate category. That's riskier, all right, with these penny stocks. We'll throw it in with GWAV. All right, so we got a few penny stocks here to look at. IMRX, we're waiting for possible data. So that'll be a second tranche of stocks to look at. NNOX, GWAV, IMRX. But we'll go for the bigger caps on the top 5. Mara, Tesla, DJT, GEO, and Square with that 110 target. Let me see. Do I want to now organize these, rank these? I got to tell you, I'm tempted to go GEO because of this beautiful candle. I'm tempted. We got Bitcoin. Like, how can you not make Mara the top 1? Let me just move GEO to number 2. And I love DJT too. I love all these picks right now. I really do. I hesitate a little bit on Mara as number 1 because I don't know if Bitcoin's going to go straight up. 100K support. Yeah, I got that. Right. That's for sure. But are we going to explode further from here? I'm not sure. Let's leave it on there. All right. But I think GEO might do better. So it's getting late, 9:20. So Mara, GEO, Tesla, DJT, and Square. Those will be the top 5 today. Look at this move here. We're about to open 99.93. Square is going to be fun. Yeah, I got my hands full. Got a lot to do here. Got a lot of things I want to do, especially adding GEO and maybe adding more Square. In fact, yeah, I got to do that. Anyway, guys, if you want to join us, the banner's wrong. You can head on over to, 1 second. We don't have any specials now, I don't think. So we're at storytrading.com/Discord. A lot of people have joined our community recently, so we had to stop the price specials until we figure something out. We got to kind of reorganize all our channels because it's getting really crowded. The conversation is getting very busy. So we're kind of restructuring how our channels work. So make sure the good ideas stand out. But we're working on that. And while we do that, no price specials because too many people came in. But you can go to storytrading.com/Discord if you want to join us. Thank you, guys. We'll see you in our Discord. Take care.